Reclaim your nervous system. It was never about you, but it shaped you. There is a quiet belief many of us carry into adulthood without ever naming it. A belief that says, if things were painful in my family, it must have been because of me. This belief doesn't shout. It settles in quietly. It becomes the background hum of how we move through the world. Growing up with emotionally immature or overwhelmed parents can be deeply confusing, and for a child, confusion often becomes self-blame. A child's brain doesn't yet know how to separate self from environment, so it assumes, if something feels wrong, it must be me. But the truth is this: your parents brought their own histories, their own wounds, their own nervous systems into the home long before you arrived. You didn't create those patterns. You simply adapted to them. Your developing nervous system organized itself around what it sensed, to stay connected, to stay safe, to survive. These adaptations weren't just emotional, they became biological. Repeated stress teaches the nervous system what to expect. It learns when to brace, when to appease, when to disappear, when to stay small. Over time, these responses become automatic. Even years later, even after therapy, reflection, or distance, your body may still respond as if the old environment is happening now. This isn't failure. This is learning. This is survival intelligence. Healing isn't about forcing yourself to think differently. It's about helping your nervous system experience safety in new ways, through small, repeated moments of safety, a slower breath, a supportive relationship, a boundary honored, a pause before saying yes. Your system begins to expand. The same learning that once shaped your survival can now shape your freedom. Awareness is the doorway. You begin to notice patterns, the hesitation before sending a message, the automatic yes, the urge to withdraw when things get close. These patterns aren't flaws. They are echoes of what once kept you safe. When you meet them with gentleness instead of judgment, you create the conditions for change. You begin to relate to your nervous system not as something broken, but as something that can be supported, guided, and softened. Meaningful change rarely happens in a state of threat. Safety, internal or external, creates the space where deeper truths can rise. Sometimes safety comes from reconnecting with parts of yourself that feel warm, steady, or wise. Sometimes it comes from relationships where you are seen without needing to perform. Sometimes it comes from simply staying present with yourself for one breath longer than before. Safety is not a destination. It is a felt sense that grows over time. As safety grows, something subtle begins to shift. You try a small no, you pause before caretaking, you stay present instead of disappearing. These moments may feel unfamiliar because they move beyond the roles you once relied on. But with repetition, they build capacity. Your nervous system learns, I can do this. Your nervous system learns, I can survive this. Your nervous system learns, I can choose differently. This is how biology rewires. As you grow, you may notice you're no longer fully identified with the roles you once played: the caretaker, the peacemaker, the invisible one. These were never your identity. They were adaptations. Now, you can move in and out of them with awareness. You can choose rather than react. You can sense the parts of you that existed long before the adaptations. This is differentiation. This is freedom. Understanding that it was never about you doesn't erase the impact. It simply places it in context. You were shaped by a system that had its own limitations. You adapted in ways that were intelligent and necessary, and those adaptations left an imprint. But now you have space to ask, who am I beneath the patterns? As survival loosens its grip, your authentic self begins to emerge. Not because you're becoming someone new, but because there is finally room for you. And in that space, in that widening, softening, expanding space, your nervous system can heal. You didn't lose yourself. You became who you needed to be until it was finally safe to return to who you are. With love and healing, the Green-Eyed Mystic.